In a world where we're often too quick to judge on appearances, focus on ourselves, or find ourselves in a rush, this show is a reminder to slow down. Taste Exchange is a project that goes beyond the meals and happy hours and connects with the thoughtful human creators behind each experience. Lo and I will sit down and try and uncover what it is that connects all of us to the story of a life. Each of us is distinctly unique, yet we are all very connected. This is Taste Exchange. Welcome to our show.
Sam Diminich is a third-generation chef, a father of two, and has established a home in Charlotte for over a decade. He owns and operates Your Farms, Your Table, which he established in March of 2020. His mission is to connect Charlotteans to local farms and help tell their stories. Each day he prepares fresh dinner meals, then his team delivers them in the greater Charlotte area. He is also the personal chef for a very notable professional athlete, but we'll get to that a little later. Sam has found a supportive community in and has now become very involved with Ben's Friends, a food and beverage industry support group that operates nationwide. They offer hope, fellowship, and a path forward for professionals who struggle with substance abuse and addiction. Sam has had an incredible journey, and we're so honored and grateful that he has shared his story. We hope it's as inspiring to you as it is to us. Please enjoy this conversation with Chef Sam.
Is from Julian, Homeland Creamery, the squash, rosemary from Harmony Ridge Farms, and then there's some sweet onions, a little bit of carrot in there from the same farm as well. So it's really cool to be able to make one complete dish, from basically one section of a farm. So what I wanted to do, and at the time, nobody really knew what was going to happen next, how long this was going to last, and all that. I just knew I was able. I wasn't sick. Our food systems were still safe. And so what I decided to do was go to the farm and farmers markets and buy from them directly. Yeah. And bring them back to my apartment, in my little apartment. Yeah. And engineer a 3-course menu every day, and that menu would change. And the menu had to change because, I just needed a way I could support the farmers and the markets without any strings attached to it. You know what I mean? So if I did broccoli soup every day and they didn't have broccoli anymore, what was I going to do? How would that support them? So anyway, and I wanted to be creative, and scratch that itch as well. Go for it.
Oh man.
You're not making a mess, not doing it right.
Show them the citrus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a little bit of chili, a lot of citrus, and lemon juice.
Wow.
Yeah.
What all was in that rice?
And then right about now, you're probably tasting the chili, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But not strong.
Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean? It's almost like a little drain.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like much.
That is fantastic.
Oh no, it looks amazing.
Brother.
Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is there's three components there, right? What's on top is in the cauliflower rice, just in small dice. You have a little salad on top, sauce fish, and there's some decent technique.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty great.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can come back to the simplicity in food and how you are incorporating that into your cooking.
Yeah. Well, I think humility. I think is where we left off there. Humility, is what I experienced working with Raphael. Not only I think his just approach to life, but also how he approached food, and that's what I was learning, and in this new way of life, and so you know, what I was learning when I wasn't working aligned with what I was learning while I was working, and so it was a really cool experience, and one that you know, I couldn't help but be attracted to, you know, and want more of it, you know, and so you know, I think that experience, those 2 years working with him, had the largest impact, the greatest impact of anybody I've ever worked with, you know, in my career. You know, as far as not necessarily recipes per se or how I present food, but my approach, my conscious approach to cooking, you know what I mean? And what is really important, you know, it's me or is it, you know, making sure that, you know, whatever I am cooking, you know, is prepared correctly.
Right, and when you say me, you mean like ego, like, oh, is, you know, my experience most important, or is it for this food, for these people?
Yeah. Emphasizing the fact that I created that, or wait, hold on. You know, because it's all basically borrowed anyway, right? It's all been done before. You know, I haven't created per se anything here. You know what I mean? But I prefer to be an ambassador.
Right.
You know,
and putting the love and intention into it, as we've talked about, that's everything. I mean, having that's what's unique, right? No one can put your love and intention into the dish.
That's right. That's right. You know, and to be honest with you, I've never felt better about cooking. The feedback from the community, the people that I cook for, have really embraced it. You know, so it's like, it's one of those situations where it's like, you know, we have business, but we also have philosophy.
The one question I was going to ask, I saw this on your Instagram. You were on a show. Was it Beat Bobby Flay? Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get on there? What was, like, please tell me that story.
That's a really funny story, actually. Okay, so they reached out, but they reached out via Messenger.
Okay.
Places, like no phone call, it was just a messenger.
Facebook Messenger.
Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember being kind of down in and focusing upstream, and the thing about Messenger is kind of weird, right? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't even look at
my
it.
Dad, like I don't open anything.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's where I filed that away. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't need that virus right now in my phone, or whatever is attached to this situation. And so anyway, apparently they'd sent me a couple more messages, and so finally, you know, I mean, like I didn't, you know, it was spam to me. But a friend of mine who used to work for me that then worked for the Food Network called me. And he was like, Chef, you know, Food Network's trying to get in touch with you. I was like, what? Really? He's like, yeah. He's like, it's Beat Bobby Flay. You know, you think about being on the show? And I was like, not interested.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like most people would be like, yeah.
No, I was not interested at all. And I was like, I don't watch the Food Network. I haven't watched the Food Network in years. Thanks, but no thanks. And I was like, all right, well, you know, if you change your mind, let me know. And so, so I was thinking about it, you know, and I was like, you know, I don't know, I don't think I want to do it, but let me ask around to some people that I trust. And that's the cool thing about, you know, I think sobriety and having people in your circle that you can rely on, and they help hold you accountable, you help hold them accountable. So I went to, you know, a couple of chef friends of mine, and my friend Wendy, who was the publicist for the restaurant group I was working for, and she was like, "Don't overthink it, you know, and just do it." And I was like, "All right," you know, and all my chef friends were like, "You got to do this, man."
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
but you had some initial hesitancy.
Well, I was like, I didn't want to be in the forefront. You know what I mean? I'm not real comfortable with any kind of spotlight, you know, and I was just unsure about how to handle the whole situation. They were like, you got to do it because, you know, if something were to happen, you know what I mean? You know, that you would have this on your resume if something were to happen. You know,
when was this?
It wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
So this is, we filmed May of 2019.
Okay.
And it aired in January 2020. Yeah. So anyway, one thing led to another, and we started the phone call process and interviews, and several Skype interviews later. It was a done deal.
It was crazy how persistent they were when you were not responding, which I think speaks a lot to your character and your reputation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
Well, thank you. And also social media. We can't deny that. You know, and one thing that, you know, I did learn early on, and really for a lot of different reasons. I was doing a lot of dishes. The menu changed all the time, and so I would document, and post the food. And so apparently that's what caught somebody's eye.
Got it.
And I certainly did reach out, and I don't know anybody there, so that was the message I got. It was like, hey, we like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Let's have this conversation about potentially being on the show. And so the next step was to find a signature dish. But upstream, the menu changed all the time. There was one signature dish of the restaurant, sea bass, but it wasn't mine, so I couldn't claim it. So we went through this process, and it was like 2 arduous weeks of like, throwing ideas out there. About, like we had minestrone. I had this lobster minestrone that I had on the menu at upstream. And it was a tribute to my childhood, because we had that third pan in the Bain Marie at the restaurant of minestrone all the time. And so that's how I made that particular recipe. But they didn't feel like it was, it would be suitable for the competition. Long story short, we wound up going to risotto. And so I've been making risotto for a long time. We had a risotto on the menu.
Italian family.
Italian family. And so they were like, yeah, let's take a look at this. And so we had a few conversations about the approach with the risotto, and it worked out well. So I went up there and filmed, and it's interesting. I went and I practiced once. It was the Sunday before I flew up there. And,
one time. Just one practice. No big deal.
And it had been a busy week. It had just been a busy week. So I went in there to the kitchen, and I set everything up, and I practiced, timed everything, and made it how I had it in my mind, and plated it up, and I had some people in there tasting with me, and then so I got it done. Everybody tasted it, they loved it. That was really good. I tasted it, and I was like, this is shit. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I cannot do this. You know what I mean?
Really?
So yeah. So
everyone told you it was good, and you were like, no.
Yeah, but I knew. You know what I mean? I knew that it was missing layers of flavor. And so I'm flying Monday. You know what I mean? This is Sunday. So basically, on the flight up there, I tore the dish apart and started over. On like a scrap piece of paper, whatever else the elements, and how I was going to go about doing it if I made it out the first round. And so I did, and it turned out really well.
Obviously.
He came out pretty well.
He won.
Yeah. He was pissed.
Yeah.
He was really pissed. All that experience, what I took away most was that humility is key.
Yeah.
And so there's one. I think it's one thing to be humble, but I think it is another thing to practice humility and inclusion. So that's been the biggest shift, even on a personal level.
Yeah.
And of course it's altered the way I look at food. How I think about cooking, and in the process of cooking.
Wow. How can you have more humility than that? I mean,
what preceded that was decades of attempting to get served, but couldn't achieve it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because my ego told me I didn't need to follow these directions.
Right.
I didn't need these suggestions. I didn't need to go to the meetings.
right.
I didn't need to get honest with myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I figured out what I did. And that's the great equalizer, right? I was thinking what I've been, because I'm 3.5 years. You know, so any whole fish I would have always get roasted with hope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and of course all of that you can't say.
Yeah.
But I did got chicken from the farm last week. It was for Christian. I served it to him last night. I got a roasted whole.
Oh wow.
Which is a really cool experience because you know, like anything else that we have that we get locally has a story.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and it was chicken from Newtown Farms, and Sammy Kundensberg and his family just insist on doing things nature's way.
Yeah.
You know, so the chicken was raised,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in the environment of which you know, the farm has,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing is rushed. You know,
So
all the care in the
important.
world.
Yeah.
All the care in the world, and And so, you know, when it comes time for a market, you know, and he brings them, I'll pick them up, you know, bring them back, and you know, we'll roast them whole, just simple olive oil, salt, pepper, high heat, it's getting nice and crispy. You know, it's just it's like, I think the flavor of the bird, but also combined now with the story behind it.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in a kitchen that's that they've committed to, makes it so much better. So that has to be one of my favorite things. And then also my son, he loves to cook. He loves to cook steaks. And this cast iron skillet, it is literally one of my favorite things, you know, to do with him, and you know, to share that with him as well.
Are you his sous chef?
Basically,
Yeah.
I'm way lower than that, actually. I'm way lower than that.
He's like, chop this.
Basically, what are you doing over there? I want so much about it is the emotional connection, you know, and the feeling of being connected to, you know, the people that, you know, had all the care in the world, you know, a long lifespan of birth.
Right.
You know, so basically, you know, it's one of those things where you just cannot, me as, you know, as an ambassador and cook, you know, community member, you can't take that for granted.
Yeah.
You know, so every single step, you know, is taking care of watching the bird, dressing the bird, seeing the bird, resting the bird, letting the bird rest.
Yep.
You know, everything in that moment, under those circumstances, everything matters.
Yes.
You know, and it's so worth it.
It's so worth it. And you just think about, you know, that animal having the love and care all the way through its life, you know, and then the love and care you put in it versus, I mean, it's super sad. All of the farms and the horrible conditions that animals are being grown and killed under.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you're doing is so important. So important.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It really is. And, you know what's interesting about that is that I never ever set out to be an advocate of any sort. You know what I mean? But here we are. I think what's important to know too is like, you know, certain people along, you know, different chapters of my life, periods of my life, you know, made an impact on me. You know, and I was able to receive it, in a position to be able to receive that, you know, and be aware of it, so that I was prepared for, you know, then and prepared now.
I know you talked about one person who specifically had a big influence on you. Were there others?
We all share a commonality, you know, when it comes down to alcoholism and addiction. And then there's a gentleman by the name of Dennis Wormsley, who took me under his wings, you know, when I was in suffering, you know, in treatment. You know, and still, in many, many ways, has me under his wing, you know, is looking after me from a distance. You know, the thing about him was, you know, his story, his journey and my journey were so similar.
Yeah.
He was an African-American man, you know, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you know, and I'm a white kid. I was a white kid from the South, you know, and so that that impacted me. It transcended sobriety, you know, and I found myself, you know, in this cool position where, you know, I viewed race differently. I viewed my politics differently. I viewed, you know, my position in society much differently than I did prior to. You know what I mean? So it was
huge. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I can pick up the phone right now and call him. You know, and he would answer it. And, you know, we could talk, you know, for 20 minutes, or we could talk for 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, get caught up.
Oh man.
You know, I mean, you know, he's just one of those people that, you know, that, you know, I think we crossed paths for a reason.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure.
And clearly, you know, I needed it. You know, and clearly, you know, I think he lives by a principle of he gets to keep what he has by giving it away. You know, I think in many, many ways we all do.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was a cool opportunity as well. You know.
It's true though. I mean, it's not being selfish with your gifts, and even just the way that you speak about him, your face just lights up. So
Yeah, You know what I mean? Like he's just one of those people. Like, you know, he's just. It was just a deeply connected relationship. It still is.
Is there anyone that you're looking up to now for inspiration or innovation, or is it really just coming from your experiences and what not to do?
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes down to inspiration, my children, you know, are a big part of it. You know, and it's crazy, you know, and I'm looking at art. We're sitting here in this beautiful restaurant. Art is a big part of it. You know, other people that inspire me are really like line cooks. You know, the people that are really, really grinding it out, you know, or, you know, the underdog farmers, you know, that I'm in contact with every single Saturday morning, if not more, you know, that are really, really, they're just chasing their passion. You know, they're committed to what makes them happy. And I love that. I love that. You know what I mean? And it's just so refreshing, and it's so, you know, it's just such a change up from what, you know, I was taught coming up, you know, how to define success, and you know, and how to get there, and you know, and just everything.
I know you guys are definitely going to keep growing and expanding, and it's going to be great. But on that topic, what are some of the things that you want to do? Like where you, like, just some ideas you have.
Business-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. No. You know, so we have this personal chef service that is working out really well. We're doing events regularly now. You know, and I think that's a really cool opportunity for a business like mine. You know, then we have the farm to table meal delivery service. You know, the ultimate goal is to also have a 501(c) wing, you know, to where we can go to farms and markets, you know, and acquire, either purchase to support, you know, or acquire items that would not make market, you know, that would not be able, that just don't quite make, good enough to sell or whatever.
Sure.
However you want to phrase it, you know, bring it back here, you know, and then engineer meals, you know, that we can take care of some of our underprivileged community members in and around the area on a regular basis.
Yeah, I love that idea. That's really cool. And it's, there's so many layers to that.
You know, I think that's one of the lessons that we have to learn, right? We have to take care of our sources. I think we have to take care of each other, right? And I think you know, we also have to think in ways that we haven't thought before on how a business can operate, right? You know what I mean? Because it's not about profit and loss. It's really not. You know what I mean? I think it's really about coming together, you know, and being of service. And I think whenever that philosophy is emphasized, I think we all reap the benefits.
I completely agree.
It's not about. It was never about profit or loss here, you know, within the business and the framework that we work in now. Yeah,
and it's such a beautiful thing. And from the business world and all the businesses that I've studied and been a part of, time and time again, it comes down to, if people are your focus, if your intentions are good and to help others, you will win. The money will be there, but if money is your focus, then it's not going to sustain.
You're going to be shortchanged.
Absolutely.
Hard to fun, but you're going to be shortchanged.
For real.
A lot of different ways.
Yeah, and I think you've seen that in your career, in the kitchens that you've been in. And again, I think it's very pervasive in society because the whole conditioning mindset has been profit is the focus.
That's right. Stuff with citrus, triple on crafty. It's a really simple preparation. We're gonna roast it, dress it with spectacular olive oil, salt, and kosher pepper.
It looks like it's changed color a little bit from when you started. Is that just like the oil sinking in?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
Including fish. We're gonna make some cauliflower rice, quinoa, watermelon, radish, golden pea, just a little bit of brown rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love cauliflower rice.
Yeah, there's a lot of sustenance.
Yeah. I saw a funny meme that was like, if cauliflower can be anything, so can you. I will find it. How it's cooking by the sound.
Yeah. Definitely listen to the food that you cook.
Wow.
You know, and what we want to keep here is crispy skin. So I'll let it sit for a few more minutes here, and then we'll get in the oven. Obviously, the oven will help roast the fish. And then 60% of the way there, we'll flip it over and crispy the other side of the fish.
It's so enjoyable just to watch you and all of the care that you put into your craft. I mean, it is like literally just making me smile.
I'm the same.
I know, we're both geeking out. Look at that.
1, 2, 3. Boom. That's it. Looks great, doesn't it?
It looks amazing.
So then we can kind of peek and cheat a little bit.
Okay.
Look at the doneness. This looks like we're on schedule. I love that. Good job, chef. Well, yeah, I mean, but really it's like buy great fish.
Okay.
Yeah. Clean it.
Right.
Clean it.
Start with great ingredients.
Clean it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then dry it. Like you have to have, a really, really nice dry surface. And then if there's any scales, got to remove the scales. And then we stuff it, dress it in olive oil. And I don't know if you saw how I did it, but I just put a little bit on there and rub the rest of it in my hand. So you have a nice even layer.
Yep.
And that way there's no burn spots whenever you go to sear it and roast it. If you're just to drizzle it, you might not cover the entire surface area. And so with all that work, you want to be thorough. And so anyway, so that, and then, large pan, needs to have a heavy bottom on there, kind of like that one does. And some super high heat, some good oil, and then some patience.
Yeah.
That's key ingredient. That's a big
First start with good ingredients.
Yeah.
And then add patience to yourself.
That's right. That's right.
You doing okay?
I guess that doesn't suck.
He's undefeated. Undefeated. I told him, I was like, I'll let you know, man, if you ever have a bad meal.
He did. He said it. Yeah.
It's like in a whole lot.
28.
I'll tell you what, and this is, it's the food's obviously unbelievable. He really is one of the best guys. Hustler, 5 a.m. till when?
Whatever. 11.
11, 12.
Yeah.
I'll text him and change something up.
Yeah.
Good as they come.
Yeah.
I'm obviously I have goals, and my goal is one of his goals to, be really good at what you do, and this is part of it, even like this. He's as good as they come.
Yeah. Mind and body, right? Yeah. You want to touch on that blood test that you had, or your, you know what I mean? Kind of what
Yes, I
went
do
with
my
that?
allergy tests every year, sensitivities, all that, whatever. And I ate all this stuff in about a month. Nothing. It's the cleanest it's ever been for me. So it's just tangible evidence that this stuff works. I wake up like 7, 10, because I just smell it. It's not even making noise. I just smell the food.
Oh, that's the best of luck.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
And
We had Wagyu beef and eggs yesterday. Wagyu beef and eggs. Yeah.
and what Sam said in the car was he's never repeated a meal.
Never had 2 meals twice.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's just next level. Who does that?
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one of those things where it's like, I think this is really important, and that, so knowing how important it is, like that needs to be taken very seriously, and so that's, so that I take all that into consideration and how we prepare the meals, and and how we plan. You know what I mean? It should be, time for stillness, and
Yeah.
but also be stimulated and keep them happy.
Absolutely. I think that's so, like, think of how many people, and I'm not saying I've never done this, right? We've all done it, like when you sit and you're like watching TV and eating food. It's like you're missing such an incredible experience right in front of you.
Not present.
Or the people of code, we talk about fast food and Chick-fil-A and Taco Bell that are just mindlessly eating, and they're not even thinking about it, number one, and then two, there's no nutritional value.
And I like supporting local farms too. Obviously, all the stuff that's happened last year. It really was a perfect fit. I called Sam after I saw the title of his website. I'm like,
Oh, really?
I just saw the title. I had a friend of ours, Dave, in Fahrenheit, who actually hit me up. I was like, look, man, I'm looking for a chef. I really want to dial it into perfection. You have any more money? He sent me a few people. I saw his website when he sold called.
Yeah.
The intent, like I like watching him cook. It sounds weird. I like watching him cook because you can just tell that like every step matters.
Yes.
It's important, and that means a lot. I like having everyone within my team A+, like everything.
Intentionality.
Intention, right? Liking your job.
Yeah.
It's fun to be around.
Yeah, it is weird. There's a couple moments today where he's just cooking, he's doing his thing, and I'm just like, smiling, like geeking out. I'm like, this is so cool. This experience. I'm super excited to tell your story and also just bring more awareness to the local farms and how can we educate people about, that's a big part of what we're doing. Educate and just trying to help people understand how can they improve their lives. But this is so, like, everything that Sam's doing, the intentionality, everything behind it is just so important. It's like, this is the stuff they don't teach in school,
Well,